Welcome, everyone. My name is Justine Gumaru, Senior Marketing Specialist of Generali Philippines, and I will be your host for today's session on health and wellness. Hypertension and coronary artery disease are considered a major health concern in the Filipino workplace. According to the Philippine Heart Association survey, around 38.5% of patients are diagnosed with hypertension and 17.5% have coronary artery disease. In a typical day at work, it is common for us to just sit and stand for long hours and eat on the go. The physical activity we do at work is different to the exercise we need to maintain our cardiovascular healthy. Unfortunately, the stress we experience at work also increases the risk and worsens the symptoms of cardiovascular diseases. Employers are key in creating positive impact in an employee's health and wellness. Companies can make a difference in reducing the risks and managing the symptoms of hypertension and coronary artery diseases through encouraging its employees to get tested and treated, and also by being proactive on work stress issues. In this session, we will discuss the following on hypertension and hypertensive heart diseases, from its warning signs, causes, early detection, and ways to help your employees prevent and manage those diseases. This webinar is in cooperation with Home Healthcare, premium provider of health and wellness programs. Now, without further ado, we will turn our time over to our speaker. Our presenter today is a graduate of medicine at Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila. She obtained her undergraduate degree of BS Biology at the University of the Philippines. She has worked in the Rural Health Unit at Aurora Municipality in Masbate. She is also a former physician handling pre-employment medical examination at the Seafarers Clinic. Currently, she manages the health education and telemedicine services of the Seafarers Clinic. Let us welcome on screen Dr. Monique Mendoza.
Good morning, everyone. So you can call me Doc Monique for short. And today we have a very interesting topic. So it's entitled Hypertension. It's a wellness talk. And we are going to discuss how we can do something about it, how we can control it, and how we can manage it. Okay. So let me just share my screen for you guys to see. All right. So let me first share a short video for you in order for you to have a grasp of the message that we are going to convey or we are trying to discuss and share with you regarding hypertension and also different lifestyle diseases that could be prevented. Okay.
What will your last 10 years look like? Will you be quick enough for a game of tag with your grandchild? Strong enough to embrace every moment? Will you grow old with vitality? Or get old with disease? It's time to decide. Change your future at makehealthlast.ca.
All right. Sige. So sana during the discussion while we are talking about things regarding hypertension and what we can do about it, unti-untiin nyo nang himay-himayin sa isip ninyo, what will your last 10 years look like, no? Kasi many of us for sure, especially the younger ones, no, we tend to live life to the fullest and it's not something bad, no? It's okay to live life to the fullest, pero we also need to be mindful regarding our health because sooner than later, we will be experiencing all of the different consequences or of the actions and damages that we have been inflicting on our bodies. All right. Okay, so let's first talk about the heart. No, the heart is a very important and crucial body part in our life. Okay, so the heart is actually the center of the circulatory system. So the circulatory system is composed of your heart and your blood vessels and also your blood. Okay, the heart is a muscular organ and it is just the size of your fist, located just behind and slightly left to the breastbone. Okay, so and this is very important for you to understand because the functionality and the responsibility of the heart, the placement of the heart in your body will be able to let you know or make you informed that there could be a problem with that specific organ, especially if you encounter any symptoms near or in proximity to that part. Okay? So the heart is a muscular organ. So just like any muscle, 'di ba? If you are a gym person, no, or if you have noticed any gym person, those who are carrying heavier weights, 'di ba? Mas malalaki yung muscles nila, mas batak sila. So that since the heart is also a muscular organ, the same principle or concept applies. Okay? So if the heart has a higher workload or medyo mas stressed siya, mas marami siyang kailangang gawin or mas maraming effort yung kailangan niyang i-exert in order for it to fulfill its function, nagiging mas malaki din siya. So, short, ano lang siya, no? Parang short discussion regarding certain findings. Minsan may mga makikilala kayong tao na ang findings sa kanila is cardiomegaly or enlargement of the heart. Most of the time, the reason for that is because the muscle has a higher workload or mas nasa-stress siya because most of the time also of hypertension. Okay? So, this is the placement of the heart. Nasa left side siya banda. Kaya pag sumasakit yung area na yan, medyo warning sign na siya for us. We need to take note of it. Diba? Kasi minsan yung mga... The hypertension is actually what we call a silent killer, no? When we say silent killer, hindi mo na mapansin, unti-unti nang nade-deteriorate yung health mo, and yet halos wala ka pang symptoms na na-experience. Or kung meron ka mang symptoms na na-experience, it's more of the tolerable ones. And it's more of the ones that you would just shrug off, no? Na if you encounter this and then after some time, after resting for a bit, nawawala naman siya. So ang nangyayari, we don't tend to pay much attention to it. However, if we encounter the warning signs na or yung mga mas malalala ng symptoms and even the complications, that is the only time that most people go to hospitals, consult with their doctors. Okay? So the heart is very responsible for the distribution of blood in our body. So for your information, the blood contains the necessary oxygen and nutrients in order to ensure that our body parts, our different body organs are working properly. So for example, there's a problem with your heart or there's a problem with your blood na hindi na niya facilitate yung distribution ng necessary oxygen and nutrients in your body organs. That is when the end organ damages, and that is when the different problems of your organs arise. So for example, yung kidneys mo hindi na nakaka-receive ng maayos na nutrients and the like, 'di ba? Dahil nga may problem sa heart mo or super taas ng blood pressure mo kasi dapat properly perfused yung blood mo, 'di ba? So kailangan nakakalat siya ng maayos. However, if you have hypertension or high blood pressure, ang nangyayari sobrang bilis ng andar ng dugo, hindi niya na-distribute ng maayos yung kailangan ma-distribute sa body organs. Pwedeng masira yung kidneys natin. And in the end, it will turn into chronic kidney disease, will eventually become reason for dialysis. Okay, so yun yung short na discussion niya regarding that. That is why very important yung circulatory system natin. It's the blood is the fuel of life, and the heart is like the engine for the fuel to be distributed to the different body parts. Okay, so regarding hypertension, let's define it, no? According to WHO or the World Health Organization, it is when the force of blood pushing against the wall of your blood vessels is consistently too high for too long. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, if you have a reading of if you have a blood pressure reading of, let's say, more than 120/80, because as you all know, yung normal natin, ang basa doon is 120/80 and below, but not too low, no? So, 90/60, acceptable pa. But beyond that, or kaya lower than that, it could be a cause for concern. So, 90/60 to 120/80, okay, we are on the good side of the blood pressure reading. But if we are on the higher level of blood pressure reading, and it's been going on for repetitive times, and it's been going on for too long already, we could be considering that you are already a hypertensive suspect. Okay? So let's say, kunyari tumaas yung BP ko. After an exercise, it is natural for your blood pressure to go up and down. Okay? Pero natural din dapat that your body is able to adapt well for your blood pressure to go back to normal. So if that does not happen, and it's consistently too high for too long, usually yung doctors natin, kaming mga doctors ninyo, kina-consider namin two different readings, two different occasions with high blood pressure, doon lang namin masasabi, this person could be in need of maintenance medications. Okay? So how do we know that your blood pressure is high? Kasi sabi ko kanina, 90/60 and then hanggang 120/80. Your systolic blood pressure is the numerator, and then the denominator is your diastolic blood pressure. So sabi ng WHO, 140/90 could be a good enough basis for us to know that you have elevated blood pressure. Okay, so 140/90 for two at least separate occasions, tapos hindi siya bumababa kahit na nag-rest ka na, o kaya naman, let's say, nagkalma ka muna ng sarili mo, because stress could also be a reason for elevated blood pressure. Okay, so pag halimbawa, hindi nakaka-adapt yung body natin and it's consistently too high for too long, that is when we say that you are already a hypertensive person. Okay, so because of hypertension, there are different problems that could arise specifically for your heart. So dito papasok yung hypertensive cardiovascular diseases natin. Sa puso natin, maraming pwedeng maging problema, not just because for the heart particularly itself, but also because of the blood vessels surrounding your heart that could be affected by the high blood pressure. And also the risk factors that you have been having for the, let's say, n number of years, no, na nagkakaroon na ng continuous and cumulative damage in your heart and in your blood vessels that could be causing an increase in your blood pressure and eventually damages in your heart and circulatory system. Okay, so hindi lang siya coronary artery disease, pwede rin tayo magkaroon ng valve problems, diba? Pwede rin tayo magkaroon ng heart failure. Okay, yung cardiomyopathy, cardiomegaly, different classes siya or different types of terminologies, no? But still, there are different risk factors that could be prevented and could be controlled. So why am I telling you this? Parang, ang dami naman palang sakit, doktora. Nakakatakot naman yan. Is this the reason you're telling us this one, diba? So, actually, I'm not trying to scare you, no? But I'm trying to make you aware, because the right type of information will lead to the right type of mindset. And when you have the right type of mindset, you will be able to make your decisions properly and eventually will lead to the right type of actions. So being aware, having the right kind of information is the first step for you to be able to take better care of your health. Alam naman natin ngayon, we have Google, di ba? We have Dr. Google, di ba? And also Dr. Facebook, Dr. Kapitbahay. A lot of people have a say regarding our health. Kung ano yung, pero please take note na kung ano yung gumana sa isang tao does not necessarily mean it will also work on you. Okay? So you need to consult your healthcare practitioner if ever you encounter any of the symptoms that we will be discussing later on, or if you have any of the risk factors that we will be discussing down the slides. Okay, so hypertension is very important to be discussed. Why? Because this is more common than you think. Sabi ko nga kanina, di ba? This is a silent killer. It is impacting a lot of lives and they don't even know about it. Okay, kaya dito rin papasok na important yung annual health check natin. Annually that we undergo certain testing, that we get our blood pressure read, that we get our body mass index every year, we monitor our weight, or we at least have an idea which part of our health we should be working more on, di ba? Because 1 in 3 adults worldwide already have high blood pressure. Lalo na ngayon, it is an already increasing problem, obesity. No, and obesity, yung pagbigat ng mga tao, there are more obese adults already in the world than there are people who are underweight. Kasi iniisip ng mga tao, ang dami nagugutom sa paligid, ganito, ganyan. But in fact, looking at the health trends of all the adults around the world, mas marami na po yung obese na tao or yung mabibigat na tao compared sa mga taong nagugutom or compared sa mga taong underweight or malnourished. Okay? And 1 in 4 people have pre-hypertension. So it is a risk factor for high blood pressure, no? Increase, paulit-ulit na laging mataas ang blood pressure mo, eventually masisira yung bodily functions mo. And then 1 in 5 adults with high blood pressure are actually unaware that they have the high blood pressure. Huwag na tayong lumayo, no? Let's look at the Philippine statistics. This is actually a graph of the most common causes of mortality in the Philippines. When we say mortality, the death in the Philippines. So medyo morbid, doktora, no? Pero this is why I want to tell you this, no? Because if you will look at this graph and you will focus on the top 5 reasons for death in the Philippines, most people would think last 2020, 2021, it could probably be COVID. I cannot blame you kasi anong ginawa natin for the past pandemic years, di ba? Body counts ang monitor natin na parang, ang dami ng matay sa balita, yun yung laging nilalabas nila. Pag search mo ng Google ng COVID, yun agad yung unang lalabas. How many people have died because of COVID-19? However, even in 2020 na nag-peak ang pandemic, noong 2021 na nag-peak yung Delta virus at nagsarado yung mga ER, the top 5 most common cause of mortality or death in the Philippines still unchanged. Yung top 5 natin, sila pa rin yung lifestyle diseases. When we say lifestyle diseases, these are certain types of diseases that could be prevented if only we had changes in our lifestyle and in our health practices. Okay, so it's not the infectious ones that's the most common killer among Filipinos currently. Okay, so from 2020 up until now, the top 1 most common killer or common cause of death is the ischemic heart disease. Meaning, hindi nakapunta yung oxygen from your blood, no? Hindi nakapunta sa different arteries or different blood vessels of your heart. Syempre, pag walang oxygen, mamamatay, di ba? Pag namatay, atake sa puso. Yung part na yan, yung mga cells na nandoon. Cerebrovascular diseases or stroke. Okay, kunyari may bumara sa may blood vessels natin sa utak. Wala din ulit oxygen, wala ulit nutrients. Stroke. Okay? Neoplasms or yung mga cancers, diabetes mellitus, so yung mataas na blood sugar natin and its complications, and then hypertensive diseases. So kasama na dyan yung mga iba pang heart diseases na because of hypertension, they develop. Okay? So in 2021, we achieved the highest prevalence among Filipinos since 1992 for hypertension. There was an observed 37% among Filipinos who consulted with their doctors. They were noted to have hypertension. If you will look at it, parang 37% lang naman, doktora. Ilan ba ang population ng Philippines? It's 100 million. And 37 million siya ng mga Pinoy. Okay? So, ganun karami ang mga Pilipino na merong hypertension and it has been the highest prevalence since 1992. So, if we will look at the current trend that we have right now, yung mga Pinoy, nagiging high blood na rin at nagiging mabibigat na rin, no? And it's not a good thing, no? Kasi Pilipino tayo, we are in a tropical country. We have access to different fruits and vegetables that could actually be helping us in order to avoid certain diseases that could be prevented. Alright, so ito na naman tayo. I'm not trying to scare you. The most common cause of death in the Philippines is ischemic heart disease and different lifestyle diseases. I'm trying to make you aware that this is something that we can do something about. Alright, so let's look at the risk factors. No? Paano po ba nagkakaroon ng hypertension, Dr. or even hypertensive cardiovascular diseases? Unang-una is excessive alcohol consumption. Diba? Next one is physical inactivity. Sobrang common ito, especially nung pumutok yung pandemic when people shifted to working from home. Anong nangyayari? Yung usual natin na ginagawa na we have to travel for long periods of hours o kaya naman we have to walk from the station to another, diba? Nawala siya. So, ang gagawin na lang natin, paggising natin, minsan hindi pa maliligo, di ba? So, when we wake up, diretso sa laptop, and then we are going to be sitting there for the next 8 or 9 hours. Diba? So, physical inactivity. Cigarette smoking. Cigarette smoking is the #1 most preventable risk factor against any type of cancer and against hypertension. Number 2 is obesity. Okay, so #1 is cigarette smoking, #2 is obesity. Alright? So, being obese or overweight. So, dumadami na nga po yung mabibigat sa mundo. Okay? Chronic kidney diseases. If you already have genetically, you were born with a genetic problem with your kidneys, so kaya naman na-trigger siya, there's a certain kidney problem that was triggered because of your certain unhealthy life practices or health practices, pwede kayong magkaroon ng hypertension. So, ibig sabihin, pwede kang mag-hypertension because of kidney diseases, and pwede ka ding magkaroon ng kidney diseases because of hypertension. Family history of hypertension, it increases your risk of developing the high blood pressure. Pero syempre, it will also still depend on how you will take care of your health, no? Okay, certain supplements and medicines. That is why we do not recommend you going over dun sa mga online shops, no, and then buying whatever your neighbor is taking. Kasi what could be working for your neighbor doesn't necessarily mean it will also work for you. Sometimes it will cause more harm than help for you. So if you already have a problem, if you have already have a disease or a sickness, diba, consult your doctor immediately. Huwag kang bibili ng kung ano-ano which could even damage your liver and your kidneys kasi hindi mo alam yung formulation ng iniinom mo. Okay? Stress. Sobrang laki ng effect ng stress sa hypertension. Some people, normal yung weight nila, okay yung kinakain nila, but they have this chronic type of stress in their workplace, tapos hindi siya nare-relieve, hindi bumababa yung stress level. What happens is, pwede rin mag-develop ng hypertension. Kasi natitrigger yung stress hormones mo. Nagpo-produce ng stress hormones, ibig sabihin, pwedeng tumaas yung blood pressure natin. And then too much salt in your diet. So, generally, or ang rule of thumb natin, when we say hypertension, we need to avoid salty food and then fatty food. Kaya when you go to your cardiologist, when you go to your other doctors, what they constantly tell you is you need to consume low salt and low fat diet. Okay? Kasi yung salt, it causes water retention. So, syempre, pag maraming tubig, di ba, parang pag nagbukas ka ng gripo, pag maraming masyadong tubig yung tangke, and nag-open ka ng gripo, ang taas ng pressure, di ba? Sobrang lakas. Ganon din yung nangyayari sa blood vessels natin. Pag sobrang daming water na nagkakaroon ng retention of water sa atin, nagkakaroon din ng high blood pressure. So, for your symptoms, no, once you become a hypertensive, there are different symptoms that could only appear when the complications are already starting to arise. Okay? Pero, most of the time, meron na yung pakunti-kunti na nagpaparamdam. You need to listen to your body, no? Kasi your body is actually a wise type of creation. Okay? So, it tells you when it's already feeling differently compared to your natural or your baseline. So, you need to continuously listen to your body. Huwag mo basta-basta i-shrug off, lalo na if it is repeating already. Okay? So, different types of symptoms you can experience once you have hypertension. So, inclusive dito yung fatigue, severe headache, diba? Vision problems, chest pain, pounding, or even in your chest, in your neck, in your ears, parang ang bigat-bigat ng pakiramdam ninyo. Difficulty of breathing. Yung difficulty of breathing natin, medyo tricky siya, no? Kasi sometimes it can only appear once you already have the congestive heart failure. Pwede siyang mangyari na gano'n. Pero kapag halimbawa, umaakyat ka pa lang ng hagdan, and then dati, kaya mo naman siya, 1 flight of stairs lang. Pero after nito, nung halimbawa, after mo mag-work from home, wala ka ng any physical activity, isang hagdan pa lang, isang flight of stairs pa lang, hinihingal ka na, that could be telling you na medyo may problema na tayo sa heart natin. Or cardiovascular fitness is not that optimal already. Okay, blood in the urine. Pag masyadong mataas yung blood pressure natin, sometimes there could be small arteries na pwedeng pumutok, no? So not necessarily just sa kidneys natin, pati sa ibang parts ng katawan natin. Pero pag sa kidneys, minsan may makikita tayong mga microhematuria. So when you get your annual health check, tapos may nakita doong parang RBCs or blood in your urine, it could be because of infection, or also it could be because of hypertension. So pag tumataas na rin yung blood pressure natin during our annual health check, kailangan natin i-check to. Okay? Irregular heartbeat. So itong mga to, ito yung mga symptoms natin. Ano yung warning signs? Doctora, how do I know that I need to go to the nearest emergency facility? Okay? Pero if ever you have any of the risk factors or symptoms, you need to consult your doctor immediately. You may need to undergo some tests or start medication. So when do I need to go immediately? Na emergency siya, I need to see a doctor urgently. Okay? So when you encounter chest pains, yung hindi na nawawala, when you experience loss of consciousness, when you experience weakness on one side of your body, any symptom na mas malala doon sa mga pinakita natin kanina, and they are no longer resolving, you need to go to the nearest emergency room or the nearest hospital for assistance, medical assistance. Yun yung kailangan importante doon. Kasi pag pinatagal nyo pa, baka magkaroon na ng permanent damage. Permanent damage can start to set in as early as, let's say, 4 minutes, 5 minutes without oxygen in your brain. Pwede na mag-set in yung permanent damage. Some people become brain dead because of that. Okay? So consult your doctor. You might need to undergo some tests or even start medications. So ano bang gagawin ng doktor mo if napakonsulta ka and you're already considered as a hypertensive person? It is very important to control your BP because when your blood pressure is high, you are 4 times more likely to die from stroke. And you are 3 times more likely to die from a heart disease. Yung pinakita ko sa inyo kanina, yung top 5 reasons natin why people die because of certain diseases, di ba? Yung top 5 natin, yung heart attack, yung stroke, cancer, hypertensive diseases. So these are certain diseases that could be caught early on, and these are certain diseases that we can do something about. Okay, so if we control our blood pressure, we can reduce the different risk for complications like your stroke, your coronary heart disease, death from cardiovascular diseases, and even death from all causes. So ang laki ng percentage na ibinababa niya. Okay, so controlling our BP, if we already have the hypertension, the main priority is to make sure that we have our blood pressure controlled. So how do we do that? So in order to control blood pressure, we need consistency. Okay, simple lang. Consistent tayo dapat. Consistent on 2 things. Okay, if we want to make sure that our blood pressure is within the normal limits, that our blood is being distributed properly to our organs, we need to be consistent in the following. Number 1 is to make sure that you have regular blood pressure monitoring. Bakit importante to? Ito yung pinaka-common na nakakalimutan ng mga patients, no? When they have hypertension, nakakalimutan nila i-monitor yung blood pressure nila. Bakit ba namin kailangan i-monitor yan, doktora? Regular monitoring or your BP diary could really help you kasi doon makikita ng healthcare practitioner mo if the medications you are currently taking are actually working for you. Okay? And if your medications are working for you, is there a need or a possibility na pwede nating ibaba yung dosage? Okay? Kasi as we all know, medications, kahit naman sabihin pa nating safe siya, it has more benefits than the different cons, diba, of taking it. Meron pa din side effects, diba? Any type of medicine naman may side effects. So, syempre, we want to be more natural as possible. Okay? So, if okay naman pala yung blood pressure natin, we have been consistently able to control it properly, tapos meron pa tayong ibang ginagawa. So, later on, I will tell you how to manage it well. aside from just controlling your blood pressure. Bare minimum to ha, controlling your blood pressure is the bare minimum that you can do to help your body. Okay? Consistency in your blood pressure monitoring, kailangan siya. Kasi baka mamaya naman, instead na paulit-ulit mo lang tinitake yung medicine na yun. Sige, okay, fine. Naiinom ko naman po siya morning or afternoon or evening, and yet hindi mo alam na hindi na pala sapat yung dosage niya, or meron ka na palang ibang kailangang medicine in order to ensure that your blood pressure is controlled. Doon talaga papasok yung blood pressure monitoring natin. So regular monitoring, ang general rule natin dito is at least 2 times a day. So 1 in the morning and then 1 in the evening. Make sure you have a copy of your blood pressure readings. Okay, and then the next one, you need to be consistent in taking your maintenance medications. Okay, huwag kayong nagsi-self-medicate or nagsi-self-discontinue ng medications ninyo. Kasi sabi natin, di ba, even though they have side effects, the medications have side effects, mas malala yung pwedeng mangyari sa katawan natin if our blood pressure is not properly controlled. Okay? Example, yung kanina ibigay ko sa inyo, yung sa kidneys, di ba? If your blood pressure is not controlled, ibig sabihin sobrang taas ng BP natin. So, katulad sa gripo, pag nagbukas ka ng gripo, ang lakas, di ba? Ang bilis ng tubig. Kapag gano'n yung nangyayari, hindi niya properly na-distribute yung mga oxygen and nutrients sa mga kidney cells natin. So, kapag nangyayari yun, your kidney cells will start dying. And once that happens, in the end, pwede ka nang magkaroon ng end-stage renal failure, and then eventually you will need to undergo dialysis just so your body can detoxify. Kasi hindi na functional yung kidneys natin. So, kailangan ma-monitor natin yung blood pressure natin, and in order to do that our blood pressure is properly controlled, we need to continuously, regularly take our maintenance medications. Okay? And then regular follow-up tayo, kasama yung diaries natin, yung BP diary natin, para makikita ng doctor natin, is there a need for adjustment in medications? Okay? However, hindi kasi, di ba sabi ko, bare minimum lang yung controlling ng blood pressure when we say managing a hypertensive person. What we need is actually prevention and complete management. Pero syempre, more than controlling, no, very, very, very crucial dito that we get to understand as early as possible that prevention saves us the labor of being sick. Diba? You don't have to continuously take your medications, to continuously monitor your blood pressure, only if you were able to prevent having the disease in the first place. Okay, so this will be, the following slides will be about the prevention or even management of your high blood pressure. Kasi controlling your blood pressure, it's a given na. But doing the following steps will even ensure na mas mabilis mong makakontrol yung blood pressure mo, and there are even studies indicating that it is possible that for a hypertensive person, as long as wala pang end stage na organ damages, pwede pang matigil yung medications with just the following steps or just the following measures that we need to take in order for us to prevent hypertension and its complications. Okay, so I'm going to teach you ABCs para madali lang ninyong tandaan. So letter A, activities. Okay, especially for those who are working from home. No? Ito yung lagi kong naririnig. Doktora, ang hirap kasi after working, pagod na ako, no? So, parang hindi ko kayang isingit yung 30 minutes per day of moderate exercise. Okay, so yun yung common na naririnig ko. O kaya naman, wala po kasi akong gym membership, di ba? Or medyo hassle kasi maglaban ng gym clothes kung everyday ko siyang gagawin, ganito, ganyan. Ang daming excuses if you really don't want to commit into helping yourself. Hindi tayo mauubusan ng excuses. That is why I'm going to teach you that the 30 minutes requirement or recommendation of moderate exercise at least every other day, hindi siya kailangang isang bagsakan. Okay? According to WHO and the CDC, yung 30 minutes na to, it could be cumulative. Okay? So meaning, you can do 5 minutes for now and then rest ka muna or mag-work ka muna and then stand up, do moderate exercise for the next 10 minutes until makatapos ka ng 30 minutes of moderate level physical activity on most days of the week or every other day. Okay? So, Doctor, how do I know it's a moderate level activity that I am doing? So yung short description dito, in order for you to say na moderate level siya, is that it gets your heart beating faster than usual. Okay? Hindi kasama doon yung makikita mo si crush. Okay? Kailangan you are moving. Okay? Physical activity talaga. So moderate level physical activity most days of the week. One very simple example and one low-hanging fruit that you can do para sa moderate level physical activity is going up the stairs. Okay? For those of you who are already reporting to work, if you have stairs in your company, take the stairs. Instead of using the elevator, take the stairs. Your body will thank you for it. Okay, so basically, you're just doing something that your body is going to thank you for the next or for the last 10 years of your life. Okay, so go up the stairs. Ang laki ng nababurn na calories dyan when you go up the stairs. And you don't even need equipment in order for you to make sure that you have that 30 minutes of moderate level of physical activity. Okay, so letter B, bad habits. Bad habits that should be avoided. So bad habits, aka bisyo, no? So when we say bad habits, hindi lang siya yung smoking o kaya naman too much alcohol intake. It could also be the different practices that we have been so into doing every day, nakakala natin normal na lang siyang gawin. Nakakala natin it's okay because I haven't been experiencing any problem with it. Okay, so aside from the too much alcohol intake. Sige, I get na medyo social drinkers tayo, ganyan. Sometimes it causes us to bond with people. Social interaction is also important, no? We are all social beings, and sometimes alcohol is one way for us to bond, di ba? Pero too much alcohol intake, yung everyday mo na siyang iniinom, it's not gonna be healthy for you anymore. Okay? And then smoking, as I have mentioned a while ago, alam ko mahirap siyang bitawan, pero you need to start somewhere, di ba? You need to start somewhere. You need to try to at least minimize until hindi mo na siya hanapin. Kasi smoking, sobrang laki ng effect niya na masama. Not only sa lungs natin, but also in our blood vessels. Okay, so parang nagko-constrict yung blood vessels natin. So, ibig sabihin, kapag konting clot lang, tapos lumiit na yung blood vessels mo because of continuous chemical exposure from the smoke or the cigarette, di ba? Pwedeng bumara agad yan. Sometimes, may mga kilala kaming patients, no, na yung clot bumara sa may eye blood vessels niya, so nabulag siya. Okay, it can happen. Pwede ring stroke sa kamay. Okay, may blood vessel na barahan ng clot, hindi na niya nagagamit yung hand niya. Okay, so it can happen. So smoking is not really helpful. It's not gonna be sabi nila pampalipas oras or pampatanggal ng stress. No, it's going to just give you the temporary sense of gratification, pero hindi siya, in the end, in the long term, it's gonna cause you more harm. Okay, taking too much coffee or caffeine, especially at night. So caffeine is a stimulant, no? So let's not forget that. And it causes your heart to go on the fight or flight response, diba? So it's a stressor. Okay, so if you are going to take coffee, make sure that you take it at least 6 hours, maximum 6 hours before you go to bed. O kaya naman, wag mong pasobraan sa isang cup. Lalo na kung sobrang lakas niyan, yung mga kapeng barako, masyado siyang stressful for your body organs. Okay, so eating at night is also not healthy and not getting the proper sleep. Okay, kasi sleep is the very important thing that could help your body to recover from the damages that you brought upon it during the whole day. Kailangan ng sleep ng katawan mo. Okay? Para makarecuperate siya, makarecover siya, tapos makapag-reset ka. And to lessen your stress, because as we mentioned a while ago, stress is a major risk factor for development of hypertension. So you need good rest and sleep. Yung coffee, sabi ko, maximum na 6 hours before going to bed. Eating, maximum na yung 3 hours before going to bed. Huwag ka nang kakain, huwag ka nang iinom beyond the 3 hours, no? Kasi mahihirapan ka pang makatulog. You will not be able to get a quality type of sleep if you will still be digesting food from your recent meal. Okay? So bad habits, smoking, alcohol, and other different unhealthy practices or bisyo should be avoided. Activities, letter A, bad habits, letter B, and then letter C, importantly, is your consumption. Okay? So iniisip ng mga tao, okay lang magsamgyupsal ako everyday kasi everyday nag-gym din naman ako. Hindi po yun totoo, alright? Okay, so if you want to lose your fats, unnecessary fats, or you want to gain, you want to be able to achieve your goal weight for a normal BMI, you need to be aware that the weight loss has an 80-20 effort. Okay, so 80% of your weight loss or your fat loss will be coming from you regulating the type of foods that you consume. And then just 20% of your weight loss, ang nagko-contribute doon is yung physical activity. I'm not trying to downplay na parang, hindi mo pala masyadong importante ang physical activity. It's very important kasi yung cardiovascular fitness natin, doon siya nag-improve through physical activity. And also, that is how we burn calories, right? If we have been taking in excessive, let's say, carbohydrates, okay? So, para hindi siya nag-iipon as fats. So, physical activity is very important. Pero 20% lang yung kino-contribute niya doon sa weight loss journey natin. Majority of the weight that we will be losing will come from the fact that we will have to regulate whatever it is that we are eating. Okay? So not necessarily you need to be so strict about your food, no? Or your food intake. You just need to follow the healthy eating plate. Okay? Okay lang kumain ng masarap. Mahirap naman talagang hindian yon. Some people, it brings them happiness to be able to taste good food. And it's totally understandable. But you need to be mindful of what goes on into your plate. Itong healthy eating plate na to, we have this in Filipino version. Ang tawag natin, pinggang Pinoy, no? Healthy eating plate, it means 50% of your plate, especially if you have the buffet type of lunch, diba? Lunches, o kaya naman if you go to hotels, o kaya you want to go to buffets, you need to be mindful of what you put into your plate. 50% of your plate should be composed of fruits and vegetables. 25% lang yung carbohydrates natin or the whole grains, your bread, your pasta, the starchy vegetables like your potatoes, diba? Mashed potatoes, pwede siya instead of rice. Okay, and then the other 25% will come from your healthy protein. Okay, and do not forget your water intake. Okay, so ang rule of thumb natin for water, you can have your 0.5 ml times your weight in kilograms, so you can get your rule of thumb for your water intake. Okay, maganda rin if you are working on the desk, you have your tumbler with you. Para mas nakikita mo siya, it's a visual reminder for you to drink your water regularly because it helps you improve your digestion. It helps your body be able to detoxify well. Okay? So 50% kailangan yung healthy na food, 50% kailangan glow foods, diba? Glow foods are your fruits and vegetables, 25% your go foods, your carbohydrates, and then 25% remaining is your grow foods or your healthy proteins. But when we say consumption, it's not only physical. Okay? It's not only about the food that we are intaking. Okay? It's also about psychological. It's also about the stress, the information, the emotions that we are taking in. Okay, so if ever you experience any stress, you observe yourself, you try to look at yourself, you assess yourself, whatever it is you're doing on a daily basis, you ask yourself, are these things hurting me or are these things helping? If certain practices, kunyari, you have a certain practice, it's already hurting you, I advise that you stop doing it. If that person, if you're in a relationship that is already hurting you, I suggest you start avoiding that person. You start limiting your exposure to that person. You start making that person not live in your mind or in your heart rent-free. Okay, so if it is already hurting you, stop doing it. Stop seeing that person. Stop exposing yourself to those types of situations. But if it is helping you, continue doing it. Okay, so if you are exercising regularly, if you are eating, being mindful of your food on a regular basis, continue doing it. Your consumption, at the end of the day, your consumption, your food, your emotions, everything that you take in, these will affect your risk factors for developing hypertension. So in short, in summary, ABCs in preventing and managing hypertension: activities, bad habits avoidance, and then proper consumption. Okay, so before I end, let me just tell you this type of advisory. Now, this is very, for sure, for those of you who are traveling, no? So, familiar to for sure sa inyo. So, ito yung sinasabi nilang advisory before we start, before the plane starts to take off, no? If ever there are certain problems that oxygen will be necessary, no? Oxygen mask will fall from above, no? Sabi lagi, okay? If that certain circumstance arises, please put your mask on first. That is what we call the oxygen mask principle. So you must take care of yourself before you can do anything for anyone else. I know it is very easy for us to not to take for granted our health kasi alam naman natin yung sarili natin. Pero when a certain family member gets sick, 'di ba? Sobrang nag-worry tayo, sobrang inalagaan natin sila. Pero hindi niyo napapansin that the first and foremost person that you should be taking care of is actually yourself. Okay, so put your oxygen mask first before you attend to anyone else. If you cannot do it for yourself, kunyari hindi mo makita yung need for you to take care of yourself now kasi akala mo, nasa peak ka naman ng health mo, ang iniisip mo, kaya naman ng katawan ko, I can do it every day na parang sobrang daming coffee in order for me to finish my work, di ba? O kaya in order for me to bring home money, I need to get a lot of work done or I need to find an additional work, it's stressing you out already. O kaya naman kung ano lang yung available, hindi na healthy yung kinakain natin kasi gusto natin yung makakain ng mas maayos yung mahal natin sa buhay. You need to be aware that if you do not take care of yourself, you will not be able to take care of your loved ones as well. Okay, so before you can take care of, before you can do anything else for anyone, you need to make sure na ikaw mismo nalagaan mo rin yung sarili. When you take care of yourself, you also take care of other people. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Pag ubos na ubos ka na, wala ka nang matutulungan. So unahin mo muna yung sarili mo, alagaan mo yung sarili mo. If you cannot do it for yourself, do it for the people who will be depending on you. Okay? So just one thing to take away, no? Ask yourself, dun sa video natin, how would your last 10 years look like? You get to decide. You get to decide.
Thank you, Dr. Monique, for giving us your time and sharing your knowledge about hypertension and coronary artery disease and the importance of health in the workplace. We look forward to hearing more from you in the near future, and we hope that our audience was able to learn new things and had a great session with us. On behalf of Generali Life Assurance Philippines, thank you for watching this health and wellness session. Visit our YouTube channel again on our next online sessions. We have a lot more in store for you. Once again, I am Justine Gumaru of Generali Philippines. Thank you for watching this webinar. Enjoy the rest of the day.